I wanted to now move on to talking about how you see it from the perspective of sort of more innovative technologies, for example, so it looks at AI or looks at sort of big data and how you operationalize all of this. So how do you see it from your perspective in terms of, Richard, looking at how much we want to harness this data, how important it is to develop new technologies that can help individuals, that can help clients, but at the same time, with all the concerns that we are seeing and coming from regulators, legislators around the world. If I think, Saudi will have privacy legislation in force in March 2022. So what's your view on where we're at?
Okay, thanks, Ivana, and I'm also happy
to
be here. Yeah, test. Okay. So of course, if you look at artificial intelligence, then most of it today runs on top of data, and therefore data privacy is very important. We also have to take into consideration that for artificial intelligence you don't always need personal data. Sometimes you have data of machines, of sensors, or you anonymize and aggregated data and you actually can build your model and you don't need to know personal data. So that's sometimes a misunderstanding, and they put everything together, privacy and AI, but it's not always the case. But oftentimes it uses personal data. And in that case, I think, well, actually it's very well legislated in Europe. So there is the General Data Protection Regulation, and that says if you want to use the data, you need to have a legitimate interest or a legal basis for doing that, which can be consent. So people they have to opt in that you use the data for something, and then they can decide to do that or not to do that. Now, that is the law, but how that law is interpreted by people, people just want to get their things done, so we now see it on every website. You have a pop-up, allow cookies, or configure, and then you go configure. Actually, some make it very easy, but most of it make it very difficult. So in the end, people do click, 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 click. They just want to use it. So in the end, the opt-in is not really explicit. So that's something, I think as a company, you have to take that into consideration. So I think one of the important things that we are learning with data in the digital world with artificial intelligence, of course you have to be legal. You have to comply with regulation, otherwise you get a fine or you commit a crime. But legal is not enough. Even if you are completely legal, you can still have many issues that you don't control. We all know the scandals around Cambridge Analytica, all kinds of things that are happening. Most of the things are legal, but then still, somebody is looking into it and something is happening. And this is not only happening with data and privacy, but also with other ethical aspects of the use of artificial intelligence, with bias, discrimination, black box algorithms. So my main message here is legal is necessary, but it's not sufficient if you want to gain this trust with the customers, because it's not only about companies, it's also about citizens, it's also about governments. And I think also citizens and users need to be more responsible in deciding what they are sharing with whom. So just not accept anything.
And you touched on 2 points that I think are absolutely brilliant to move on with the conversation. One is the consent model, and how a privacy as built on consent has been, to an extent, it hasn't really worked, because in reality, as you said correctly, people want to get access to the services. They don't want to read 2 pages of a privacy notice, and it puts a lot of responsibility onto the individuals. And the second element that you mentioned around artificial intelligence is and big data is the need to move beyond compliance, and this is where ethical consideration come in, and we've had a lot of investment and work in ethics and discussions around ethics happening, and this is really important for companies and for organizations. So I wanted to ask you all a question, and questions is around how we can, and especially on sort of the IoT side, how can we harness the power of technology to enhance privacy? So are we in a situation where we really need to invest in privacy tech, in privacy engineering? Is that the solution? Is that enough? but what do you think is the road ahead?
Yeah, I think technologies will continue to evolve. I mean, obviously you have to marry the process and the transparency with it. I'm probably on a different boat. I do believe that there is life for consent. A key part of what we're building at NEOM is a user-centric consent management platform.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a little bit different. So imagine a world where a user on Meld, which is our platform, is able to identify who's using their data, how it's being used, and then have the AI make recommendations for that user on how to optimize their privacy settings. So absolutely, I think technology is a part of it. I think you have to enable the user and make them responsible, but you have to also marry the policies and the process with it.
I mean, the user-centric approach is interesting because I was reading a research a couple of days ago at global level, a survey, and it showed that the more the user knows about what's happening to the data, the less the user is prepared to share. Does it resonate with you?
Exactly. And I think everyone has heard about attention economy. It's me that is being sold. It's my attention, it's my time. The Web Foundation is working on deceptive designs, where he talked about consent. Yeah, we've heard that before. But is that informed consent? Is that consent that I'm aware of, responsible consent? That is actually the deal. People don't read all the end user licenses, and unless you click agree, you are not moving forward. Opt-in is very easy. Opt-out, you can't find the button. So there are quite a number of deceptive designs that accompany data-related issues. And because the user wants the attention shortened, time shortened, money shortened, they go on clicking. And even when the use of my data changes, do I actually have the power to say, I did give a first consent, but the second consent, I don't want to give it again. And if I don't give a second consent, can I still continue using the services? I think that these are things that you and myself, design and users, we need to talk about. To what extent can I give content, and can I take consent back? Yes. That is actually the question. Can I cancel my consent? Can I do it easily? How easily can I do it?